this is Ana Sofia, and I just started this wonderful sort of like a podcast, but it's actually my YouTube channel where I have inspirational talks, girly talks, woman to woman talks, and I am really excited to show you what I have to talk about today, because today's topic in Very Interesting Talks, which is the name of the YouTube channel, we're going to have the discussion on Putin. War is not the solution to power and economic instability. And I would like Putin to be my friend and see this video. Hopefully, maybe he sees this video or somebody shows him this video. I would be willing to love to meet him if he uses my advice on things you can do to grow, to have lots of power and lots of economic stability the right way without wars. And this is for other countries too. This video is for other countries too. Again, I will tell you in these slides what does work. So war doesn't work, but I will tell you what works, the secrets. And where did I learn this information from? Like, who are you to tell me like how to rule my country? No, I read books, many books, movies about government, and I'm going to use my knowledge and my wisdom that I have from reading these books, how to advise you properly to run your country, or be a good leader. And how war doesn't give you lasting power and lasting economic stability. Okay, economic stability can come from where? Let's talk about power and economic stability. Where does economic stability come from? They can come from colleges investing in your people's dreams. For example, if Russia has this private college and the government can donate money to this private college, the most famous Russian college, and help those students with their dreams. Imagine if Harvard invested in their students' dreams. I would love if Harvard took this idea from me and actually did this, because they would probably only have a Facebook or 15% of it, because their students have dreams too, like Facebook. And what if they don't have people to invest in it? So imagine the losses of profit that you're losing from this because you're not helping your students with their dreams. Okay, so I think economic stability comes from government investing in these colleges and giving money in return for a percentage of this help to these students, companies, businesses that they want to start to make a positive, lasting impact in the world. Negotiation is give and take. What do I mean by that? The government can fund this program in colleges with the agreement that the company provides jobs to their people 50% and to the other 50% overseas. Now that was my idea. I never read that in a book. That was just my idea. And there are other ways to get economic stability, many other ways we can obtain it too, which I'm about to mention. Economic instability continued. Have fancy monuments. Does your country have legends where they can have a fancy monument for it? Does your country have heroes? Does your country have romance, historic stories? What do you want your country to represent? For example, Paris. What does it represent, Paris? Paris represents love and romance with a Eiffel Tower. That's what is a monument, the Eiffel Tower of romance. Okay? So that in itself, for example, the Eiffel Tower is worth 344 billion to the French economy. 344 billion. And you can find this information in this website right here. But it's worth that much. Putin from Russia, with all due respect, I think this is a great idea to have a fancy monument like the Eiffel Tower in Russia or in other countries too. If you're a leader in other countries, please leave a comment down below and say that this is a great idea because it works for France and it pulls in a lot of tourism. And I believe in the law of attraction, and I think that whatever you put out, you get back. So I think if you put out a monument that is historically for romance or for culture, that represents your culture, automatically people are going to be attracted to want to visit it. So example, I have an example that Russia can use. For Russia, it could be a Russian doll made out of concrete with colored glass glued to the concrete the size of the Eiffel Tower, and on the top you can take pictures of the city. And there are lights under the glass of different colors that correspond to the color of the Russian doll's attire. At night in the city, it lights up. They can pay money to construct this monument for tourism. So this is something that Russia might not copy exactly the Eiffel Tower, but with its unique culture, which are the Russian dolls, they can make this monument into something that makes people want to say, yeah, I want to visit that thing. I really want to go there. Okay, once you find your fancy monument, what next? Make movies. Pay Hollywood to make several movies near it. You could write your script. Pay someone to write the script. Anyone. And make a movie. Example, the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie was filmed in Albany, New York, where I lived, and promoted tourism there. So you can do that, and you can promote tourism that way. Once you find your fancy monument, what next too? Okay, contact tourism companies and negotiate prices to visit their monuments. Include that monument, including other important locations, which Europe does with tourism companies. They contact them and they negotiate. We'll offer same with Cancun in Mexico. Cancun in Mexico gets in contact with these tourism companies and says, if you help us out, and you're able to offer them like a meals, 3 meals included in the hotel. That's negotiation. That's what I mean by negotiation. We'll offer you food, the 3 meals, and we'll offer you this and this if you visit the Mayan pyramids and stuff like that. That's how you negotiate. You negotiate with them the best offer, and that creates jobs, government jobs. Okay, now food also is a good important thing to have. Work with the Food Network and offer them views by visiting all the countries with Russia's best spots for eating. Example, restaurants. That is what they do in USA, and they promote tourism worldwide to their countries for food lovers. So if you have a food passion, even if you don't, other people do. And when you allow these people to film these restaurants, these Russian restaurants that cooked different types of food, it doesn't matter what food they cook. Cultural food is a way to advertise Russia too, and what their best restaurants. So if you get in contact with Food Network, they could work with Russia and visit those restaurants to taste the food there. Okay, make sure to keep these historical places in good condition. Oh my God, I've been to some places where I don't want to be mean, but like I paid this much to go visit this monument, but around it, it's ugly. It's awful. And why would I want to spend my money again to go there, or to advise my friends to go there, if it's going to be the environment ugly and it's not going to be like it's not going to give me vacation-y vibes. It's going to give me old rusted. There's not even rustic. There's a difference between old and rustic. Old is like ancient. Something ancient is laughable if it was old. That's the definition of rustic. Something ancient, something cute, but is maintained. It's giving maintenance over time so that it doesn't become ugly. And old is just simply simply like not rustic at all. So it was old, and there wasn't people who were making these places, keeping up the maintenance, and around it looked ugly. So make sure that not only this monument is nice, but the environment too. Make sure to maintain it, the environment as well, because that's what they do with the Eiffel Tower. They maintain the environment classic, or it can be according to what your culture is. You can decorate it, or maintain it depending on what you want to portray to other people about that historical place. Okay, the result of having these important, unique places for tourism in good condition equals more rich people live there or have a house, condo, mansion, or apartment there, which equals can get taxes from them to help the poor, which equals better environment, which equals better security, which equals better chances of people wanting to travel there. So it's all of this combined is important. Okay. Power. Now we're talking about power. History after history shows that power can be used for good or bad things. Okay? Example, Oprah Winfrey has power not necessarily because of her TV station, but because of her charitable causes. And for this reason, many people, and I mean many, respect Oprah. This respect gives her power. Hitler, on the other hand, had power through force and obedience, or else you went to jail or a concentration camp. This power is not a real one, because when power is used with force, it eventually results in the loss of it, either by badly treated protesters or military. Example, Lenin and Benito Mussolini in Italy. So challenges leaders face. This is important to talk about to better understand what gives me economic stability and what gives me a good power when I don't want a war to happen. For it to be there economic stability, you don't need wars. Okay? And the same for power. So within the topic of power, there's challenges leaders face. Example, difficult people, pressure, and being liked, being respected, all contribute to the idea that and prove that when you do the right thing and care about your people's lives, automatically you don't have to worry. You don't have to contact media groups to make your image look better. You don't have to do that because you automatically, because you're doing the right thing, you don't need someone to cover your flaws for you. So you don't have to worry about those things. Letting someone go, delivering bad news problems, staying motivated, culture issues, maintaining focus, communication, handling a dud. Those are other challenges leaders face. But, again, being respected, pressure, and being liked, and difficult people all have to do with doing the right thing. Because when you're under pressure and you do the right thing, no matter what you're under pressure against, people are going to respect you more when you do the right thing. So, continued. Challenges leaders face, continued. What happens to leaders when they don't care about their people? In order to understand how we can better our country, we have to understand why leaders who don't care about their people don't make lasting economic stability and don't make lasting power. Don't have lasting power. Because, for example, A Tale of Two Cities has to do with the French Revolution. It is a really good book that I suggest everybody reads. But it tells a story from the perspective of the poor and the rich. So it's pretty interesting. And like happy birthday, that Queen Marie Antoinette during the French Revolution basically said let them eat cake. And they were like, hell no, we're dying of hunger, we're poor, and you're telling us to eat cake. It's not even your birthday. And even if it was our birthday, we don't want you as our leader. So please, in all costs, the people are not the problem. The people are not the problem. Many leaders call them difficult people. These type of people, the poor people, the disadvantaged people call them difficult people. And when you call them difficult people, is because you're not doing the right thing and you're not caring about your people's lives. Because if you do the right thing and you care about your people's lives, you don't have to call them difficult people. And they won't be difficult people to you because they'll have great respect like Oprah Winfrey towards you. Alright, how to make a nation thrive. Welfare, offering welfare, offering healthcare, and even I would suggest other countries teaming up with Habitat for Humanity to build houses outside in their villages for poor people. Welfare, financial support given to people in need for free, and healthcare is prevention, diagnosis, and treatment or cure of illnesses and injury. If it's the government, it's free. Now, the only thing that I had a problem with the U.S. healthcare that I hope it can change in the future is that it doesn't offer teeth implants and it doesn't offer whitening. And like, for example, I don't need teeth implants because I have good hygiene with my teeth. But there's some people who are unfortunate who need teeth implants and can't afford one because they don't cover it. The healthcare in the U.S. doesn't cover it. I hope this can change in the future, and if it does, thank you for changing it. And I think it's important, your image is important for these people to find a job, and they need those teeth implants, and they need those teeth whitening, because your image, unfortunately, we say don't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately, people do judge a book by its cover at first. So teeth is it's how your teeth look is how your success is basically. Also, like the U.S. government, when I had braces, they provided braces for me for my teeth, and they paid half of it, and my other poor stepfather paid the rest of it. I mean, I was like, oh my God, if Sophie, if they don't pay for your braces, I don't think we can straighten your teeth, my mom said. And I was like so sad because I was like, this is not fair, because there might be children who don't have a father who can afford to pay half of it. So, I mean, always I don't like braces because they used to cut my gums, and moons now came out. Moons are just the plastic things you put in your teeth, and automatically it aligns them. I prefer that over braces. If the government offered moons, it would be better. Caring for the poor results in increases safety for the middle or super rich in any country. Why? Because they're not going to rob them to get food or to pay their rent. They're not going to rob them. What happens to leaders when they don't care about their other neighbors? Okay, I think we can learn a lot from history. And again, this has to do with power and economic stability. Because economic instability, Hitler thought that if he killed all the Jews, there would be economic instability because they owned all the businesses, and he made them look like cockroaches and rats. And it's horrible because that's racism. And racism doesn't give you lasting power, and racism doesn't give you lasting economic stability. And one of the movies that I recommend that you watch is The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, because it really makes you think about, like, hey, if my own family died because of my fault, because of being racist, that's hard to take in. That's horrible. But it made me realize, it built my empathy. So I think The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, I read that in high school, the book, and it was amazing. But it has a meaning behind it. So I suggest to watch the movie and with your students in class, if this is for a school that you're putting this video for, watch it. How to make a nation thrive without hatred. The government in the USA teaches empathy in all history classes in all their countries. How? They use their history to teach empathy. Empathy allows us to understand others and quite often compels us to take action to relieve another person's suffering. Empathy is a powerful force that helps maintain social order and cooperation. It results in kinder people. Why is this important to mention for lasting power and lasting economic stability? Because more foreigners want to live there that pay taxes, I repeat, to the government that is used to help the poor. All government schools in the USA teach about the Holocaust, the Trail of Tears, Tutsis and Hutus, the KKK, and Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, what happens to leaders when they treat others like slaves financially? Well, Britain treated like a slave to the colonies in America. And this is George Washington, the first United States President of America, who started a revolution against these people that were treating them like slaves financially. And this is his wife, Martha. And okay, he is. This is the President of the United States who became President of the United States, George Washington. Americans felt they deserved all the rights of Englishmen. The British, on the other hand, thought that the colonies were created to be used in ways that best suited the Crown and Parliament. This conflict is embodied in one of the rallying cries of the American Revolution: no taxation without representation. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which gives rights to humans in America, came into effect in December 15, 1791, limiting the powers of the federal government of the United States and protecting the rights of all citizens, residents, and visitors in the American territory. Okay, so what happens? This was like the French Revolution, but for America, for the United States. So remember, power with abuse does not last long. Power with abuse does not last long. Same with wars that cause abuse does not last long. Do not last long. Because their people protest against it. Okay, what does history teach us? Be humble. Use your power for good and good things will come from it. Example, George Washington, who became the first president of the United States. Don't abuse your power. Example, World War II. Like Hitler, he abused his power. Care about the poor. Care about the poor. Example, the United States does welfare and food stamps. And have empathy. Have empathy. The Nazis didn't, and they lost big time. Because rulers who don't have empathy don't last long. Because people don't respect them. And if there's no respect, they don't like them. Not only that, but they inspired the Nazis, the boy in the striped pajamas. That makes you think, what if they were Nazi to your own family by accident, like I mentioned previously? And it makes you think, it makes you wonder about that sad fact. About that movie makes you think that. So your own actions affect your environment. Okay, war is not the solution to power and economic stability. War results in the following: death, injury, sexual violence, malnutrition, illness, and disability are some of the most threatening physical consequences of war. PTSD, depression, and anxiety are some of the emotional effects. Stress on leaders result in their short life because a lot of stress, a lot of pressure results in short life. And if it doesn't give you a short life, people will make you have a short life. Example, Nazi leaders got executed. Oh, it's horrible. Wars are not the solution. No, wars are not the solution. Low tourism, low growth of the economy. Because nobody's gonna visit your country if there's low tourism. If you have low tourism, nobody's gonna want to visit you. So, rich people flee the country. This is really bad. This is really, really bad. And this is something that happened in Russia, and I hope that they return. I hope they have houses in Russia too, in the United States, and anywhere they want to, because they're rich and they deserve the happiness, the best life ever. And they deserve houses everywhere, wherever they want. But it's rich people flee the country. They provided taxes that could be used to feed the hungry or help your people or your community or the poor. Yikes. So war, that's why war is not the solution. Okay, the end. Be good to your neighbors and tourism will make your country economy blast. Remember that the Eiffel Tower is worth 344 billion to the French economy. So monuments have a really large, big monument. Also, we have something similar here in Mexico, the pyramids. But we have that naturally. Naturally, the pyramids give us that. I'm sorry, I have a lip gloss and it went down. It went dripping on my face. I'm sorry. I was like, yeah, that's why I cleaned it up. I was like, okay, but again, I would love to meet Putin in person if he takes my humble advice and declares world peace, or other leaders in person that were helped by my advice on ideas on how they can improve their power and their economic stability. And remember, power with hatred doesn't last long, but power with empathy lasts forever and ever and ever. Their power. And that's what the US has represented. Because, for example, they teach their children empathy, and more foreigners want to live there because of they're kinder and less racist. And they accept different gays and lesbians because they're more open-minded, because they teach empathy in schools, and empathy attracts foreigners. Attracts them. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Blessings to everyone. Thank you.